Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will travel to Saudi Arabia to try to restart fraught ceasefire negotiations in Gaza. Parallelly, Hamas delegation is expected in Cairo for ceasefire talks. Ukraine withdraws from 3 villages as the Eastern Front worsens. Situation critical at the area of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, as Kyiv waits for new delivery of US weapons. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez set to announce his plans to stay on or quit the premiership. Thousands march in Madrid urging Sanchez not to resign. Prime Minister's wife faces business corruption probe. Campaigning for third phase of parliamentary polls gains momentum in India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold election rallies in Karnataka and Maharashtra, while Congress leader Rahul Gandhi to campaign in Gujarat and Chhattisgarh. Talks on Gaza ceasefire are expected to see much development on Monday, with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveling to Saudi Arabia to try to restart fraught Gaza ceasefire negotiations. While parallelly, a delegation from Hamas is expected in Cairo, which will likely provide a response to Israeli proposal focused on an initial hostage release. While Egyptian officials have stepped up their own efforts to mediate talks between Hamas and Israel, mediators were working on a compromise solution to answer both parties' main concerns, intended to set the stage for further negotiations to end the conflict entirely. Intense negotiations mediated by Qatar and Egypt led to the release of 105 hostages in an initial deal last November. U.S. President Joe Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday. The White House said Biden has reiterated his clear position on a possible invasion of Rafah. Washington has said that it could not support a Rafah operation without an appropriate and credible humanitarian plan. Speaking earlier, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said Israel had agreed to listen to U.S. concerns and thoughts before it launches an invasion. The two leaders reviewed talks designed to secure the release of some of the hostages held since the Hamas attack, coupled with an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. They also discussed an increased pace of aid deliveries, including preparations to open new crossings into Gaza. Meanwhile, food aid organization World Central Kitchen would resume operations in Gaza on Monday. It expressed keenness on getting as much food into Gaza, including northern Gaza, as possible. The organization said 276 trucks were waiting to enter via the Rafah crossing, adding it was exploring using a maritime corridor to deliver aid. This comes less than a month after an Israeli attack killed 7 of its workers. On to Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Fighting in eastern Ukraine has worsened, with Kyiv's troops falling back to new positions in at least 3 places along the front, Ukraine's top general said on Sunday. Ukraine's top commander, Alexander Syrsky, said that his troops had taken up new positions west of 3 villages in the eastern front in order to conserve their forces. Moscow's troops have been slowly advancing since capturing the bastion town of Avdiivka, taking advantage of Ukrainian shortages of artillery shells and manpower. Syrsky said that his forces were closely monitoring an increase in the number of Russian troops in the area of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. Syrsky added that there were signs that Russia was directly preparing for an offensive in the north of the country. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday issued a fresh plea to the international community to hurry up and deliver more aid defenses, start formal talks for his country to enter the European Union and invite Ukraine to join NATO. Zelensky said he had just spoken with U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and thanked Congress for passing the aid package, but added that Ukraine was working with all partners to achieve a speed of deliveries that would allow Ukraine to maintain its positions and disrupt Russian war plans. On entry to the European Union, Zelensky said that Ukraine had met all conditions for accession talks to start.
Ми на всіх рівнях взаємодіємо з партнером.
We remember what this year should bring us in the political sense. This includes the results with the European Union. Ukraine has fulfilled all the necessary conditions for the actual start of accession negotiations. And now the European Union side must fulfill its obligations.
Ми очікуємо саме такого обсягу.
North Korea on Monday criticized the United States for supplying long-range missiles to Ukraine. In a statement, North Korea's defense ministry said on Sunday that the U.S. has secretly supplied long-range missiles to Ukraine, sparking of uneasiness and concern of the international community. Military ties between Pyongyang and Moscow are growing, which the U.S. and its allies see as escalating tensions in the Korean peninsula. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is expected to announce his decision to step down for a few days after a court launched a business corruption probe into his wife's private dealings. Meanwhile, thousands of Socialist Party supporters marched on Sunday in Madrid, urging Prime Minister Sanchez to stay on. Protesters gathered in front of Spanish Parliament, waving flags and chanting, "Pedro, don't give up." Sanchez denies the allegations made against his wife, Begoña Gómez. Thousands of Georgians marched to the capital on Sunday to protest against a bill on foreign agents. Georgia's parliament said it would hold the bill's second reading on Tuesday, with opposition parties and civil society groups calling for mass protests against the expected passage. The EU and Western countries have warned that the bill could halt Georgia's integration with the EU, which granted Georgia candidate status in December. The bill must pass 3 readings in parliament to become a law, as well as overcome a veto by Georgia's figurehead president, who opposes it. Haiti's Transition Council will vote for the country's next president on Tuesday as part of the efforts to bring the Caribbean country under control amid rampant gang violence. The Transition Council took power in a ceremony on Thursday, formalizing the resignation of former Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The transitional government's mandate runs until February 2026, by when there are slated to be elections and cannot be renewed. The council's installation is seen as a key step towards the deployment of a multinational security mission Henry requested in 2022 and the United Nations approved more than 6 months ago. Thousands rallied for a second day across Australian cities on Sunday, urging tougher laws on gendered violence, with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese declaring it a national crisis at a rally in Canberra. The rallies were spurred by a wave of violence against women. In Melbourne, thousands took to the streets and Federation Square on Sunday. They chanted slogans and held signs and placards. Gender-based violence is an ongoing issue in Australia, a nation of 26 million. In 2021, tens of thousands rallied over allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct in some of the nation's highest political offices. At least 4 people died, including a 4-month-old baby, and several were injured in Oklahoma this weekend after dozens of twisters swept the U.S. southern plains. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt on Sunday declared a disaster emergency for the state. Storm warnings for high winds, heavy rain and hail were issued by the National Weather Service for more than 47 million people, stretching from East Texas north towards Wisconsin and Illinois. More than 30 people were reported to be injured by tornadoes, according to the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management. More than 20,000 customers in Oklahoma were without power as on Sunday afternoon. Temperatures rose above 30 degrees Celsius throughout Japan as the country experienced an unseasonal heat wave on Sunday. Temperatures reached above 32 degrees in the city of Date in Fukushima Prefecture. The mercury is expected to rise above 30 in many locations during the day on Monday. The meteorological agency said that the temperature rose sharply throughout the country due to a high pressure system covering areas near Japan's main island, Honshu. The Bangladesh Meteorological Department on Sunday issued a countrywide third phase heat wave alert for the next 3 days amid severe heat wave in the country. The country's weather service said that the heat wave is likely to continue till Tuesday morning. Earlier, the department had issued a 32 hours heat wave alert during its second phase on Thursday. The two-day G7 ministers meeting on climate, energy and environment will begin today in Turin, Italy, which heads the G7 rotating presidency this year. Currently plans to turn off its coal power plants by 2025. The country is pushing for an agreement among the group of 7 wealthy nations to set a target date for the phase-out of coal in power generation diplomatically. Now, an agreement on this would be one step in the direction indicated by COP28 United Nations Climate Summit in Dubai last year. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. SpaceX 30th Dragon robotic cargo ship that separated from the International Space Station on Sunday is expected to return to Earth off the coast of Florida on Tuesday. Dragon's current mission is being carried out by SpaceX to resupply the ISS under a commercial resupply services contract with NASA. Saudi Arabia is eyeing to source lithium from overseas in order to produce electric vehicle batteries and invest in the EV sector. Attempts to secure domestic supplies are at an early stage as it has begun to explore extracting lithium from seawater and from salinated discharges from the kingdom's oil fields. Tunisia is facing pressure from European nations to stem the influx of irregular migrants onto their territories. Sub-Saharan migrants have been camping in olive fields in Tunisia's territory, waiting for an opportunity to cross to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. At least 16,000 migrants have arrived in Italy since January this year. We're heading for a short break. You're watching DD India Live, but after the break, amidst the state of Uttarakhand grappling with forest fires, fire officials are prohibited from taking leaves during the forest fire season. India emerges as a prospective supporter for Nigeria as the African nation looks forward to Indian investments in the pharmaceutical sector. And Carlos Alcaraz cruises to 4th round of Madrid Open as he seeks Masters 1000 crown for a 3rd time in a row.
Team Pole Pulse has reached Guwahati. Welcome to the gateway to northeast of India. Guwahati is one of the fastest growing and one of the largest cities, port riverine city on the southernmost banks of mighty Brahmaputra river.
ভোট দিব লাগে কি নাগৰিকৰ কাৰণে নাগৰিকত্ব পাৱাৰ কাৰণে দিব লাগে
एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन का कुछ काम हो स्किल डेवलपमेंट हो वो सब मुद्दे देख के ही हम लोग वोट करते हैं
अभी जब जो डेवलप दिखा रहा है तो हमको तो उसी को सुनोगे
In Assam and Northeast, the people are not very much interested in the political issues.
The youth bulge of Northeast is concerned, or youth electorate of Northeast is concerned.
It's our right to vote and we need to vote for a change.
डेवलपमेंट के लिए तो वोट देना जरूरी है सबको.
असम बदल गया है, असम बदल रहा है.
We will have to see if BJP will come up guns blazing in terms of a big win, or is it going to be the Congress this time around?
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. As India prepares for the third phase of its general elections, campaigning gains steam on Monday. Voting will be held in 93 parliamentary seats in this phase on May 7th. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to hold rallies in Maharashtra and Karnataka. 11 lower house constituencies in Maharashtra and 14 in Karnataka will be going to polls in the third phase. BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be holding public rallies in Bihar and a roadshow in Assam. Opposition Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will be addressing a rally in Gujarat's Patan. 25 seats in the state are going to polls in the third phase. NCP leader Sharad Pawar and Shiv Sena's Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray parties Uddhav Thackeray are scheduled to hold a joint rally in Maharashtra. Prominent leaders including Union Ministers Rajnath Singh and Smriti Irani will be filing their nomination papers on Monday. Rajnath Singh will be seeking a third term from Lucknow seat in the Uttar Pradesh state, while Smriti Irani will be filing nomination papers from Amethi, where she is the sitting member of the parliament. On Sunday, Smriti Irani was seen riding a scooter as she met people in Amethi. The poll battle is being closely watched in the constituency, with the Congress yet to announce a candidate. In the 2019 general elections, Irani had defeated Congress leader Rahul Gandhi from Amethi. The Indian diaspora in the UK showcased support for the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Tagged as Run for Modi, the event took the form of a leisurely walk, symbolizing solidarity and support for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's re-election campaign. The Indian community in the UK showcased unwavering support for the BJP and Prime Minister Modi, turning the event into a resounding success. With more than 500 enthusiastic participants joining in the walk, the scenic route commenced from Westminster Pier, traversing through the heart of London and culminating at the iconic Tower Bridge. All right, some more news related to parliamentary polls in India now. 4 parliamentary seats in West Bengal, Uttar and Dakshin Maldaha, Jangipur and Murshidabad are going to polls in the third phase of the Indian national elections on the 7th of May. Large part of this area is settled along the banks of the Ganga River, the world's second largest river by volume. The Pharmaceutical barrage was built across the river and operationalized in the early 70s to desilt the Ganga and supply water to a nearby thermal plant and even for drinking purposes. But it hasn't been effective in desilting, leading to the problem of river erosion, an emotive issue for over 1 million affected voters in the state.
Images of a river gone wild. The Ganga in West Bengal's Dakshin Malda eating up land, homes and trees, anything that stands in its way. These are not floods or a cloudburst. It's all river erosion. Once the river's spate subsides, this is the aftermath. Broken homes and other structures like schools, shops and health centers, eroded banks. A large part of West Bengal's parliamentary seats of Uttar and Dakshin Malda, Jangipur and Murshidabad, where village after village can be seen settled along the Ganga river's banks, suffers from river erosion. The Pharmaceutical barrage, operationalized in 1975 downstream, was built to desilt the world's second largest river. But the silt still accumulated over the years, reducing the depth and widening the river's channel. Each monsoon, the river swells up and chews away land, leaving villagers along its banks homeless and bereft. Sandbags used to fortify the river banks don't hold up for too long under the river's onslaught.
हमारा घर 2 बार गिरा है। पिछली बार करा तो ढलाई करा, नीचे जगह किन का घर करा तो 1 बच्चा वास कर पाया। तो हमारा कुछ भी नहीं, हम तो स्कूल में थे, तब किसी का जगह मान कर बैठी है। स्कूल में तर हमको सब दिन नहीं रहने देगा, तब पर का जगह में आपका हाँ अब मुझे रहने दे, कल हो तो फिर उठा देगा। हमारा तो कोई दाग तो नहीं है, तो हम लोग अब जाएंगे कहाँ?
समस्या बहुत बड़ा समस्या है। ये बाढ़ का समस्या नहीं है, जो बाढ़ आया 2-3 दिन रह के बाद 1 सप्ताह रह के उसके बाद बाढ़ चला गया। ये गंगा कटाव है। गंगा कटाव में जब जो चला जाता है वो दूसरे बार फिर के नहीं आता है। जो चला गया वो चला गया, वो दूसरे बार नहीं आएगा। ये सबसे बड़ा समस्या है। और यहाँ पे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट जो है हम चाहते हैं वो मिलजुल कर यहाँ पे कंक्रीट का एक बंधन दीजिए.
The issue of river erosion falls in the domain of both the centre and the state. The BJP, which rules the centre, accuses the Mamata Banerjee-led Trinamool Congress government in the state of doing little to address the problem despite getting central funds. The Congress, which ruled at the centre for decades till the BJP replaced it with its coalition, blames them both. And the Trinamool says it has taken some steps to tackle the river erosion issue, but it needs the centre's cooperation and funds to be able to do more.
6 महीने पहले केंद्र ने 51 करोड़ रुपया दिया, लेकिन स्टेट तो नहीं दिया अभी तक. राज्य को काम करने का कोई कोशिश नहीं है, कोई उसका उदासीनता जैसा दिखा रहा है. वो वोट के समय सिर्फ प्रचार के लिए चमक देना चाहता है, बड़ा बड़ा प्रतिश्रुति दे देता है, लेकिन वोट जब हो जाता है, वोट का जनगण का आशीर्वाद मिल जाने के बाद वो लोग फिर काम करना तो दूर की बात है, वो लोग से मिलना भी नहीं चाहता है.
यही मैं चाहता हूँ कि पहले आप लोग जो है इलेक्शन में कांग्रेस को फिर से लाइए. कांग्रेस का गवर्नमेंट अगर आएगा तो हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे कि इसको फिर से जो है स्टोन को देकर के जो है प्रिवेंशन किया जाए और जो गहराई है नदी का उसको फिर से जो है डीप किया जाए ताकि जो बैक साइड इरेशन हो रहा है वो बंद हो जाए.
আমাদের পশ্চিম বাংলার মুখ্যমন্ত্রী মাননীয় মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় তার নিজস্ব তহবিল থেকে এলাকার মানুষের যাদের বাড়িঘর পড়ে গেছে তাদেরকে 1 কাঠা করে জমি দিয়েছেন, 70,000 টাকা করে বাড়ি তৈরির জন্য দেওয়ার ব্যবস্থা করেছেন এবং 100 কোটি টাকা গঙ্গা ভাঙনের জন্য দিয়েছেন. কাজ চলছে. আগামী দিনে কেন্দ্রীয় সরকার যদি এই নদীর উপর একটু নজর দেন তাহলে এটা কংক্রিটের বাঁধন হতে পারে.
Imagine a mighty river which is otherwise a boon but becomes a bane if you're living too close to it for comfort. That is what the fate of over 50 villages is along an 8-kilometer stretch of the mighty Ganges, because they suffer from massive river erosion, especially at the time when the river swells up during the monsoons and resembles an ocean. Come election time, they're looking for a permanent solution to their existential problem. With camera person Uttam Singh, this is Gautam Roy in Dakshin, Malda for DD India.
All right, shifting focus now in the latest weather update. The Indian Meteorological Department has reiterated its warnings about the heat wave, which will be holding several states in its grip. The IMD has issued a red alert for Odisha and West Bengal, an orange alert for Bihar and Jharkhand, and a yellow alert for eastern Uttar Pradesh and northern parts of Kerala. The heat wave conditions are likely to get more severe, with the possibility of further rise in maximum day temperatures in Bengal and Odisha due to the prevailing hot and humid conditions. The residents of Delhi and NCR got a little respite from the scorching heat after Friday's spell of rainfall that brought down the maximum temperature, but IMD has further predicted that maximum temperature will cross 40 degrees Celsius mark again by Monday. Additionally, intermittent rain accompanied by thunderstorms and hail lashed several parts of Himachal Pradesh, while the tribal areas received fresh snowfall on Saturday, causing a sharp dip in mercury levels. A raging forest fire incident in Uttarakhand has escalated to alarming proportions. The fire that broke out in Nainital on Friday has prompted the administration to mount a concerted effort to contain the blaze, calling upon both Forest Department employees and army personnel for assistance. Meanwhile, 3 people were arrested amid a raging forest fire in Uttarakhand, especially in the Kumaon region. The state government has issued an order prohibiting forest officials from going on leave in the forest fire season, which commences on February 15th and ends on June 15th. In the meantime, Uttarakhand's Forest Department has noted a worrying increase in forest fire occurrences, documenting 26 incidents in the Kumaon region and 5 in the Garhwal region within a span of 24 hours. Now, these fires have devastated around 33.34 hectares of wooded area. On Sunday, a fire incident broke out in Uttarakhand's Almora near Patal Devi. Uttarakhand police prevented it from reaching the populated area. Nigeria is turning to Indian pharmaceutical companies for investment in the country following the exit of some multinationals from the industry. Medical personnel said that their exit has led to a surge in the price of medicines and the saturation of fake drugs in the market. But they also said that it presents a gap for India to fill, a country which has been a medical destination choice for many Nigerians. Correspondent Tesem Akande reports.
Yakubu Gang had an accident last year that almost took his life. He survived after he was rushed to India for medical attention.
For all the drugs I took, you could see the effect immediately. You're walking and you could feel the effect. I think I even had to bring some drugs over. Paracetamol. Just a dose of it is enough for you to get whatever you're looking for. You relax. You know that the drugs are good.
Gang is among an estimated 40,000 Nigerians who visit India annually for medical treatment, according to the Indian High Commission in Nigeria. His country has for years relied on pharmaceutical products from multinational companies. But some of the companies are leaving the country, saying the business environment is unfriendly. Last year, UK-based pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline and French pharmaceutical multinational Sanofi both announced their withdrawal from Nigeria. They are among other companies that have wound up operations in the country. Health experts say the situation has led to counterfeit drugs in the market and a sharp rise in the cost of medicines, some soaring by over 1,000%.
You have a lot of people who are dying because they can't afford their basic medication. That's happening even as we speak.
Medical workers say there are therefore opportunities for Indian investments in the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria and are calling on the Nigerian government to make the investment environment friendly.
If these people can come in and make the drugs cheaper, okay, but then we're able to get value for our money, patients are able to get medications and it works for them, why not? By all means, we welcome them.
The government says it is streamlining taxation, improving power supply, and addressing other concerns to encourage investments from places like India. Tesem Akande in Jos, reporting for DD India.
Let's talk of sports now. Carlos Alcaraz eased past Brazil's Thiago Seyboth while 6-3, 6-3 to reach the fourth round of the Madrid Open. Alcaraz won 87% of its first serve points on his way to securing a second victory of the clay court season. Next up for the world number 3 is a rematch with last year's losing finalist Jean-Lennart Struff, as Alcaraz seeks to become the first player to win the Masters 1000 crown in the Spanish capital 3 straight times. Alright, that's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.